So since I'm actually starting to read this, and I have my phone and camera at the same time, I decided to make a reading vlog for this book. Excuse the poor lighting, and the fact that it's from the library, so it has very ugly plastic wrapping on it. Anyway, I've already made my first tab in the book, because I'm going to keep tabbing it, because I'm going to be good at this, okay? I told myself I would, so I will. And it has a map, so we'll just give praise to the map. Okay, I read the first book a long time ago, And I Darken, and apparently I've forgotten everything because I couldn't remember some of the characters' names, and then I remembered and I was like, hey, that's who they are. So we'll see if I can keep remembering who these people are. I've already remembered, and I'm like, oh yeah, that guy fell in love with this person, and this girl fell in love with that person, and Lotta is insane and scary. So we'll see how this reading goes. I'm already enjoying it, and I'm ready to keep reading.
Wanna shake the ground, wanna break away, let loose. I'm tired of waiting, gotta make that move. All the neon signs, now they shout to me and you to write our story. Wanna shape the new. Do you wanna come along with me? Come along with me. Do you wanna? And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, get it right. Gonna keep on running, grab the fun and live it live. And tomorrow's far away, should I let the party fade? And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, let us go tonight.
I actually finished this book in one sitting because it was so immersive, and I started reading it and I thought I was going to read it over several time periods. I sat down and I read, and I thought, I've got to eat dinner. So I read to page 124 and I thought, I need to stop soon to eat dinner. So I looked down at a page 124 and paused for a multi-millisecond and was like, I'm just going to keep reading for a tiny little bit. And then I kept reading and finished the book. First off, if you don't know what this book is about, this is a Vlad the Impaler gender-swapped retelling, kind of historical fiction, and it is the second in the series, and I do not own the first book. Well, maybe I do. Let me look. I do own the first book. Here it is. And the first book I'm pretty sure I read last fall, and I was kind of surprised by it because I knew it was going to be dark, and I don't really like dark books, but I do like the series. Spoiler alert for this book. Trying not to spoil the second book, but there's definitely going to be spoilers for And I Darken. In And I Darken, Lotta, our main character, and her brother Radu are taken to the Ottoman Empire as prisoners to make sure their dad doesn't go and rebel, and their dad is a terrible guy. He ends up dead. Doesn't matter too much. And Lotta becomes best friends with Mehmed, the heir to the Ottoman Empire, and they help him become sultan, and there's awesome things that happen, lots of political maneuvering, and at the end of the book, Mehmed's like, Lotta, let's get married. And Lotta was like, no way, I want to go back and become the ruler of Wallachia, where she's from, and so she leaves Mehmed and her brother Radu and takes off to conquer the world, basically. The sad thing is, Radu loves his sister, but he's also in love with Mehmed, and he's not sure that Mehmed realizes he's in love with him, so there's a lot of interpersonal conflict going on, and Mehmed is the sultan of the entire Ottoman Empire, and Radu is his good friend, who also happens to love him, and in order to hide his love, he ends up marrying Nazira, and he's trying to live a nice life, serving Mehmed, and he's also worrying about his sister, who abandoned him, basically, and went off back to Wallachia to take back the throne. And that's when we start on Now I Rise, is Lotta has gone back to Romania, Mehmed is the Sultan, and Radu is being Radu, which means he's kind of a sad guy at this point because his sister is gone, the love of his life doesn't care about him, and he's trying to figure out how he can get Mehmed to notice, hey dude, I really love you. So we'll see what happens to Radu. You can see I have lots of little markers, and I don't tend to mark up my books because I read so fast, but I did for this because I was trying to remember everything I liked about this book, and I didn't want to forget it all because I knew I was doing a reading vlog, and that means that I was trying to incorporate my thoughts for a review as I was reading it, which is unusual for me because I read so quickly. Sometimes I just read it all through and don't think about what I'm going to review or say for a review, but I did try this time. First off, let's just talk about characters. I started this book mixed feelings about Lada. I thought she was cool, but I also was really tired of her basically throwing away everybody in her life just for the crown of Wallachia, and so determined to get back the crown that she doesn't care about Maymed's feelings and she doesn't care about her brother. And she continues to be like that this entire book. And so I started this book very mixed towards her, and at the end of the book I was like, I really don't like Lada. She's awesome, she's really scary, but I don't like her as a person. She's very morally gray and very cruel and very unfeeling, and that's not my favorite kind of character. But I mean, she is an awesome character. She's just not one I would root for because she's so mean and so bloodthirsty, basically. Which, I mean, it is a Vlad the Impaler retelling, so she is Vlad the Impaler, so that means she's not going to be a nice person. Yeah, not a nice person. So I'm kind of done talking about Lada. I might mention her storyline, but I really never cared for Lada this whole book. I was kind of like, I realized at one point that I was actually skimming her sections of the book because I was so tired of her, and I was like, oh, she's just gonna kill another person, which is kind of mean of me to just like overlook her. But her story became less and less compelling to me as the book progressed because she was just bloodthirsty and cruel and almost unfeeling towards the people around her, and I just was not enjoying reading about her. This book is not really about Lada anymore. It becomes more about Radu, and Radu sections I poured over, I reread them. I love Radu so much, and I could reread his perspective the entire book because I really, really like Radu, and I want the book to be just about Radu because I love him so much. Radu, unlike Lada, is not bloodthirsty, and he's also very, very considerate and kind. The first book, when he's taken from Armenia, he was raised like very Christian and believe in God and all this stuff, and he realizes, you know, I've been taken to the Ottoman Empire, they're more powerful, they're at peace, what do they believe? And they're Muslim. So he starts pursuing Islam, and he converts. And I love his conversion experience because it's so meaningful and heartfelt, and he's so devoted to his faith. And I really, really enjoy reading a character who's very, very religious and intensely believes what they believe about God and life and how that relates to everything from their relationships around them to what they choose to do because of their belief about their faith. Can you hear that siren? It's really annoying that it's happening right when I'm trying to film. Noise is annoying sometimes. Anyway, so onward with Radu. So in this second book, he's very devoted to Islam, and part of that devotion is he really believes the Ottoman Empire will take back Constantinople. He is going to support all of Maymed's decisions to take back Constantinople, and a lot of this book is the backroom dealings and the spying and the shady stuff that Radu is going to choose to do to serve Maymed to take back Constantinople. It's always been in the hands of the Eastern Orthodox Christians, and the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad believed that the Muslims would take back Constantinople. And I'm taking this all from these books because I am not up to date on studying Islam. Most of what I know about Islam has come from here around me, and as you can tell, I'm a very American person, so I don't really know a lot of what the Quran teaches outside of what I've read. And while I enjoy the fact that I'm learning a lot about Islam and their culture and their beliefs from these books. And Radu is a convert, so it's very interesting because he has his own personal, like, when he was a little boy believed, and now he's a grown person, and he's so devoted to Islam, and his devotion is so beautiful to witness. I love the way he prays and he thinks about God. To me, it's just beautiful. Trying to help the Sultan conquer Constantinople, and part of helping him is Maymed sends him, the Sultan dude, sends Radu to Constantinople as like a spy, and so Maymed goes to Constantinople with his wife, Nazira, and he's going to serve the Ottoman Empire as a, like, spy in Constantinople and get all these people in Constantinople to really believe that he's, you know, helping protect the city when he's really working for Maymed and the Ottoman Empire. It was super cool because Radu is very innocent, he's very pure. He wants to always do what's right, and for him to be working as a spy is not his character at all. And it was very difficult for him to do, and it really pains him but he really believes he's doing this for his faith and for his relationship with Mehmed. And speaking of Mehmed, I hate him. He uses the people around him so much, and I cannot stand it. Can't stand people who manipulate other people's emotions, and that's what he's doing to Radu, is he's manipulating his emotions. Because Radu loves him, and he can't express his feelings, and the only way for him to show his devotion to Mehmed is to risk his life by working in Constantinople for the Turks. Let's talk about working in Constantinople. It was so cool, I loved it. Funny fact is I would love to write a book that has a siege of a major city in it, because I love reading about the siege of Jerusalem back when the Romans took Jerusalem in 70 AD, because it was super, it's not super cool that they like killed them all, but it's super cool like the people working through a siege like that's over a long period of time. So then I was reading this book and it's about the siege of Constantinople, and the Turks besieged it for like 3 years, and of course it's all condensed in this one short time period in this book. I don't think I realized how long it was when I was reading. I knew it was a very long time. I mean, they're all starving to death and they can't escape the city, and it's a horrible, horrible experience. But to be in that experience as a character and reading it was so amazing. I loved it. As a history nerd, I was in love. I loved reading it. I loved Radu and the way he was working in the city and just experiencing the siege, helping protect the walls, and doing everything he could to survive while the Turks are outside the city, like, trying to take it. And I mean, the Turks had been trying to take the city for centuries, and they were finally really taking Constantinople. And to see the perspective of the siege from the people who had lived their entire lives trying to protect their city, and their city was going to fall to the Ottoman Empire, and you knew it because like today you know Constantinople is now Istanbul, so we all know that Constantinople fell, but to see it from their experience was very, very cool. I loved it. I really did. Okay, back to this book. Let's stop talking about history nerd moments. Let's see. Let me look for a cool part of the book. Okay, what I really liked about this book is Radu. I think I've already said that like a dozen times, but Radu's experience is incredible because he is gay, he loves Mehmed, and he's also a Muslim, and he really believes that he cannot be in love with a man and really believe in the Quran and serve Allah with these experiences and feelings that he has. And now his wife has a lover. His wife is a lesbian, and he's totally supportive of his wife's relationship, and I really think his wife is one of the best characters in this entire book. And so he goes to Constantinople with his wife. He's plotting, he's struggling against his feelings, and he meets this sweet, sweet guy who is the nephew of like the king of Constantinople, the Eastern Roman Empire dude. And this guy also has feelings for Radu, you can tell pretty quickly. But they don't express them the entire book because they're in very heteronormative cultures, and they're both too afraid to express their feelings. And so like you have this like intensely hidden emotion going on, and I just was like, come on, tell me what you're feeling, especially to each other. Tell each other like how you feel. And Radu of course feels so guilty because he's in the city to destroy the city, and the man trusts him, like his friends trust him, and he feels like he's betraying his trust every day that he's in the city. And I felt so badly for Radu, and I felt badly for his friend, who obviously was falling in love with him. I'm trying to say his friend's name, but I'm probably missaying it because it's Cyprian? Cyprian? C-Y-P-R-I-A-N. Cyprian? I don't know how to say his friend's name. I probably should have watched some other video with a review so I could have pronounced his name correctly for this review. This review is like all over the place. I'm not even like being able to gather all my thoughts. Even though I have all of these markers in this book, I have no idea where I'm going with this review. And I'm serious. I finished this book at 10:30 at night, and I couldn't go to bed till like 2 in the morning because I was laying in bed and all I could think about were these characters, Radu and Cyprian and his wife Nazira and Lada, and like everything that was happening. So I was trying to find fan fiction so I could like read something that would help me like feel better for the pain these characters were going through, some sort of fan fiction that was happy and that would have made me feel good, and I couldn't find it because apparently nobody's written great fan fiction. I found like one, and it just wasn't satisfactory, and I still was laying in bed like hoping that their lives would end up happy and normal at the end of book 3 that I have not started yet. I will start book 3 very soon because I really want to know what happens. That's my like rambling review of this book. It's Basically, this book is a love letter to Radu in my heart. I loved it. I loved the action. This book is crazy full of war because Lada's conquering Romania and Mehmed's besieging Constantinople, and Radu is trying to stay alive in the middle of the city, and his wife is working, plotting, and all this cool stuff. And this book is incredible, and it covers really interesting topics about Islamophobia and the way we interact with people and forgive and move on. I'm not even sure I'm giving this review the right words, but it's a really good book, so you should go read it.
Got a restless mind, and now I